You're watching Monday's Not Just Crew.
Well, a very good evening to you on this Monday's Not Just Crew. Welcome. First warning, if you've got any children, especially small children in the room, you may want to ask them to leave, because we have got a very special guest that you may not want them to meet just yet. I'll give you 2 seconds. Right, hope they're out of the room. Right, I am going to bring into the studio Santa. Sorry, it's incorrect spelling on my my autograph here, and it's the one and only Santa Costello. Here he is. Here he is. After...
Oh, what a surprise, Trevor! It's wonderful to see you.
You have had an adventure and a half, and we have all been watching very, very carefully. You put out some brilliant reels, honestly, some brilliant, what's the word? Dream. The dream that we've all been dreaming since we were since we were children. So listen, obviously most people knew you at Tui. Then there was a bit of radio silence, and then you suddenly appeared in Lapland. Let's just take you back to maybe, because a lot of people, we haven't done a show together since you even went to Tui. So give us a quick recap on last summer after you left being a dispatcher. I mean, the rumor was going around that you are addicted to training courses. So let's go back. You left being a dispatcher after a couple of months, and then tell us a bit about your journey with TUI and then how you went on to your next job.
Yeah, I do like the mental stress and the pressures that a training course and exams will put you through, Trev, as you are fully aware of that. So yeah, I don't mind a training course, to be fair. I find them quite good and therapeutic, especially when you get through the end. But yeah, after I finished my dispatching at Newcastle Airport with TUI, I started my dispatching with Swissport at Newcastle Airport. I started lucky enough to get the job as cabin crew out in Newcastle for TUI. So yeah, usual thing, 6 weeks training course, get through all of that. That was incredible. Met some amazing people. The training was brilliant. The guys there in the training department at TUI, fantastic. Very reminiscent to my days in the 90s going through a training at Virgin. Really close, very thorough and enjoyable. Can I say that? I'm going to. It was enjoyable. And yeah, started the summer season flying out of Newcastle Airport, 15 minutes from my house to the airport, into the crew room. Standbys are a dream, Trev. Standbys.
Yeah. I never thought I'd hear anyone say that.
Yeah, me neither. But yeah, and like, so on the rare times that you did get used on standby, and
rare.
Rare.
Wow.
Incredible, because sickness at TUI is not a very big thing, to be fair. Everybody comes up, turns up, does the job. Working on the 737, there's only 4 crew. Yeah. And it was just the summer, excuse the pun, flew by. The passengers, amazing, Trev, because they're all from the northeast, so they all get like kind of the same sense of humour. Everyone wants to get on board, have a great time, interact with the crew. The crew want to interact with each other. Your short 4 or 5 hour flights to Paphos or wherever can be the most enjoyable. Yeah, hard working. That's what it's like on short haul and mid haul. Hard working flights, but really enjoyable. So that summer was fantastic. I've loved it, and I'm lucky enough I can go back this year and do exactly the same again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and going back on that course, it was quite. I mean, I haven't done a full ab initio training course since last century, in fact. So it's been a long time to me. Split this question into 2. Firstly, what was it like going back to a smaller airline? I know you had a brief time with Flybe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but were you probably the one of the eldest on that course? And how did it actually feel to go back into like charter? That's the only way I can describe it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I wasn't the oldest. There was a lady on who was maybe a year older than me. Unfortunately, She didn't get through the course. It's brutal, as you know. It's pass or fail. If you don't put the work in and you don't pass the exams, then you don't complete the course. It's as simple as that. She hadn't come from an aviation background. She hadn't been cabin crew before. She came from a nursing background, so it was all alien to her. So the practical side of the job that we do, she wasn't really getting up to speed with it, even though we tried to help her through every kind of like module that we did. It's not for everyone. So I was the second oldest on that course. It was 6 weeks. It was all down at Gatwick. So I'm familiar, as you know, with Gatwick area, with my daughter being down there, a lot of my friends. But it was really nice to be in the Crawley area for that whole duration of the time. And it was awesome.
Well, you can see my face is lighting up here with glee and happiness for you. I might have to go to an advert soon. It's a beautiful day here, actually. I
love it. The sun is shining on your mouth. Look at that.
It is. Well, I've just had my teeth whitened, and I'm having a full Colgate moment here. So yeah, so you got through the training course. And I think you're actually wanting, because I really enjoyed both my training courses, both with Air 2000 and Virgin. Why other people seem to be worried sick every day they came in. I sort of absolutely enjoyed it. But so literally your first flight out online, were the crew you joined, were they amazed at how easy you went into your first flight?
Yeah, it was like I'd never been away. Well, I'd come before I did the dispatching at Newcastle, Trev, wasn't I? I did a year of course for ultra long haul. So, like, you know, even though I'd had that 10-year gap working for the ambulance service and then flying, doing the training at Qantas, which was like another level of training, that was brutal.
Yeah,
that was so difficult. But I had that full year of learning new things, flying on the A380, flying on the 787, flying to like Australia and Singapore. So I had that experience. So even though I was only dispatching for 6 months, going back working on the plane, it's exactly the same. You are that individual. You're in the cabin. You're talking to the passengers. Procedures with your cabin safety, your demo, and locations of all your portable equipment and the drills. The only thing you have to get your head around is the difficulty of unlearning all the stuff that you had done at Virgin, at Qantas, at Flybe, and trying to erase that and twist a little bit to how TUI want you to learn things and what things are like in their manual. That was the difficult part, but I didn't find it that difficult, because I'm going to put it all down to like how well the instructors delivered.
Yeah, of
course. They were amazing. They made it, they took the stress out of everything for not just me, for the whole crew. The whole people on that training course, they were phenomenal.
Yeah, and say, I mean, we're going to move into your next step in your career, which technically also involves aviation, but in a slightly different way. And I suppose it was seasonal flying in your next job, which we'll talk about in a sec. But your contract on this particular one was a seasonal contract. Yeah. How did you feel about coming to the end of that? Did you come to any contract before you went into your next career?
Yeah, to be fair, it was a bit of a leap into the unknown, because like your season with TUI out in Newcastle, it begins in March and it ends the end of October. So I was kind of like just thinking, right, let's just enjoy myself for the summer with TUI. And a few months before, let's start looking at what I can do over the winter period. Now, I know we have our hands full. We're not just crew, doing a lot of work in regards to everything that we do in NJC. But obviously, you need the money to come in, don't you? I've still got bills to pay. Steph's still flying, obviously. But I still need to be doing something where bringing the money in. So I started looking at alternative things to do over the winter period. I applied for, I think, 6 different jobs, got offered 5 of them. Ranging from like delivering cars all around the country for garages, and the one that we're going to discuss very soon. Anyway, I applied for about 4, 5 or 6 of them, got offered 5 of them. So it was kind of like, which one am I going to do over the winter? Because I did get offered to work for Hayes Travel as well over the winter period. For the travel agents in store. And I know a lot of the crew do that. And I was like thinking, yeah, I can do that. It'll bring the money in. But will I enjoy it? Not as much as this I was not going to enjoy, without a doubt.
Yeah, exactly. Look, now's a pretty good time to go to a break, and then we'll come back straight after, and then we'll endeavour to go through what happened next. Join us in a couple of moments.
Are you ready to hear about the wild side of air travel? Take a peek behind the curtain of the flight attendant's life. The Red Eye podcast tells the outrageous stories of flight attendants and their passengers, from sky-high antics like this. 5A stood in front of them, grinning like a naughty child, totally naked, to layover escapades like this. Throwing her hand across her mouth as Pete fell hard on top of her. Get the inside scoop on cabin cruise adventures. Subscribe now to The Red Eye, wherever you listen to your podcast.
Welcome back to Not Just Crew, the second part of where we join up with Simon Costello to find out about his most exciting year of 2024. Not only exciting, but a very, very busy one. I'm sure a lot of you have been keeping up with his progress. So I'll bring a young Simon back in. Hello, Simon. Thanks for joining us again.
Oh, good to be back.
Oh, yes. Well, I had a funny feeling you would be. Right. So what we do, we're going to go. You were still with Tui. You said what a brilliant seasonal job it is. For your next role, how did you even go? I mean, I've heard of it, but how did you even start looking for this? Or was it the paper? Just over to you. Tell us about it.
To get the role working in Lapland.
Oh yeah, I mean, because you say you're still at Tui, and how does a job like that even come up?
Well, I'd never give it any thought, Trev. None. It's not something that I'd ever aspire to be. It was kind of so. In August, there was a post. It appeared on Facebook. An advertising post with Canterbury Travel, and they were looking for elves and rangers and staff to work over in Lapland. And I was like, well, I don't fancy being an elf, you know what I mean? But I'll have a look at this anyway. So there was these positions for elves and rangers, which basically do all the back behind the scenes work and the snowmobiles and all the heavy lifting stuff. And that was not for me either. But then I did see that there was Santa Claus opportunities. But I thought, I'm going to email and see if there's any availability for Santa Claus. And so I got in touch with them, and they were like, right, no, we've got our full quota of Santas for this season coming up, 2024. But if you send an audition tape in where you've been Santa previously, which I did have, because I've done Santa before and videoed it, luckily, for my nephew.
Yeah, I remember. I've got to interject there because even at the time when I was watching it with my family, we were saying, wow, he was so convincing. So that's the real the audition tape you sent in.
Yeah. So like, no, that's nothing that we posted out in Not Just Crew. I've just sent you that
private video.
Yeah, privately kind of thing. But like what I did, like to make it authentic for my nephew, I went out and splashed out like about £100 for this really, really authentic Santa's outfit, and it was brilliant because I'd already bought one off eBay beforehand, and it was naff, to be honest. And I thought, well, that's not very nice. And then I saw this other one. I thought, Steph, I'm getting this outfit. I'm getting this Santa Claus costume. It looked amazing. So I got it. It looked fantastic. I turned up to the house, pretended I was Santa.
How are you doing today?
Good.
Can I come in? I've got presents for you. Oh, yes, I have. Have you been a good boy?
We've been good.
Have you been a good boy for Mummy and Daddy?
Yeah.
Is it okay if I sit down and just have a look at my Santa? Who is this?
Cover your ears. And then went in and delivered the Santa experience for little Noah, and kind of got it all videoed, and that's what I sent off to Canterbury Travel, and then Tony Tony, who was the head Santa. There'll be pictures of him come up later on. He was the head Santa. He emailed back and he went, "I've got an idea." He says, "How about you be standby, because sometimes things happen with Santas before the season starts where they drop out, so you can be standby Santa. How does that sound?" I went, "Listen, I'm here. If you need us, give us a shout." Anyway, luckily for me, maybe it's not for Santa Claus, something happened, and then he got in touch and he went, "Right, I'm going to interview you." It was an hour-long interview about various different things. What had I done to be Santa Claus in the past? What am I like with children? Which, obviously, coming from an aviation background, working at Virgin, doing the Make-A-Wish Foundation flights to Orlando, I told them about my experiences with that. And just like kind of like what it is as an individual, as crew, what you bring to the table to make the memories magical for these families coming through the door. So we talked, we had a chat, and he went, "Right, I've got an idea." He says, "If we can provide a new role, would you be interested in filling it?" And it's technically called a floating Santa. So,
oh right, okay, yeah, I've seen those before.
So they only needed 4 for the resort, but I would be the extra Santa just in case something happened in a different resort where a Santa went down, and then I would be used to fill in the gaps for sickness. And
Standby Santa.
Standby Santa, exactly. An emergency standby Santa. Yeah. Would you be interested? Are you flexible? Can you just move and be willing to move resorts at a drop of a hat if needed? Perfect. Of course I can. That's what we do as cabin crew. We've got to be available, like on standby, and move around and go and just do as you're told and be there in a timely fashion. I can do that. Not a problem. So that's what my role technically was supposed to be, but it didn't end that way because I became more of a solid Santa.
Yeah, I flushed a few of those away. Yeah, I know what you mean. Especially, winter time. All right, okay, look, let me ask a couple of... I'm just going to take you back to the actual interviewing, because it's not every day anyone goes for an interview. So when you were called for an interview with Canterbury Holidays Travel, do you already have to go dressed up as the parts, or can you go in normal civilian clothing?
Civilian clothing, luckily. So, like, I nearly fell over backwards once. Like, I started because it was a FaceTime call with Tony, and when like he came on camera, Tony is Santa Claus.
Oh right, okay.
His beard is all his. So I'm just in front of my iPhone.
Yeah, we'll put some pictures up while we're chatting about this.
Interviewed by Tony, who is Santa Claus, and I thought this is a wind up. This has got to be a wind up. And obviously, he was the interview was amazing. Like I say, we talked about experiences and like, you know, where I've been, like customer service and done things in the past. But his kind of concerns were about my accent. Obviously, I'm quite broad northerner, aren't I? So he was saying, can you put an accent on? Because we're going to need you to be like a Lapland Santa with a bit of a Lapland, accent and stuff. And so I did my accent. It was like, "Oh, hello there. Oh, welcome. It's so wonderful to see you all here." And like, I've got the Mickey taken out of us. Is it Welsh? Is it like, is it Asian? Is it Geordie? Is it, what accent is this? But anyway, he liked it. So it was good. So we got through that, got the job, and then that was all ready to start being Lapland, to being Santa Claus in Lapland in the 14th of November.
So, okay, typical when you're waiting for any job or reply from any job, how long did you have to wait before you would officially be given a role as Santa? And how does that offer come? Does it come in the form of an envelope, email, phone call? How did you hear that you're in fact Santa?
Well, I basically found out there and then, like during the interview, that I got the job. But like until you get anything final coming through on an email or through the doorstep, like through your letterbox, contract-wise, I don't believe anything until I see it in writing. Anyway, I didn't have to wait long. The emails started coming through. I would say like about 6 weeks later, where the contract came, went through the contract, signed it, told us. I was that excited to get the job. I didn't even ask how much it paid, to be honest. I didn't care. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to go over to Lapland to be Santa Claus, and I'm not paying for it. They're paying, and I'm going to experience the wonders over in Finland. So I wasn't even bothered. So I even lied to Steph and told them how much I was getting. I just made a figure up. But then luckily, they were paying us more than the figure that I made up. So that worked out in my favour. So once everything was signed off, DBS checks, the usual stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Contract signed. And then you've got to, obviously, flight details are coming through, which airport you're flying from, which resort you're going to be working in, and what to expect when you actually get there, like a bit of a Santa experience of what the journey ahead of you is going to be for the next 6 weeks. Once that started coming through, that's when I kind of truly believed, oh my God, I'm going to do this.
Yeah. And I've got to ask, what do you expect? Because when I imagine loads of people as Santas go into, say, Lapland, I don't know if you've ever seen the film Bad Santa, even when Santa was getting a job there, where he had all these really poorly dressed Santas all sort of queuing around this department store waiting to be interviewed. When you got to the airport, was it a chartered flight for literally, say, from everyone from Canterbury Travel? And that's is it Canterbury Travel or Canterbury Holidays?
No, Canterbury Travel, yeah.
Canterbury Travel. So was it a charter flight just for the staff of that, or were you in with?
Yeah. So basically, I got the train down from Newcastle. My father-in-law dropped us off. Down I went on the train. Off I got, and I was flying out to Stansted, and I knew I was flying with Jet2. But yeah, it was a charter flight for the whole of Canterbury Travel. So I went down the night before, stayed at the Premier Inn at Stansted, waited, got up early the next morning. The whole hotel lobby was just full of youngsters and all that. And it didn't take a rocket science to work out. They were all Canterbury Travel. So we were all flying from Stansted with Jet2 on this flight chartered for the whole of Canterbury Travel staff over to Rio Vianney. And so that was it. The Santas, we all sat at the front, all 5 Santas. Like, you really get looked after as Santa Claus.
Yeah, VIP. You are the talent.
The stars of the show. The Mrs. Clauses were behind.
Yeah, face and change.
It's sexist. I don't know. And then you had all the elves and all the rangers. But obviously, I don't know anybody from Adam. You know what I mean? No. I wasn't there the season before. A lot of people knew each other, and they were like, "Oh, it's so good to see you again." So, but like, as crew do, as we do, it doesn't take you long to like start chatting to people and letting them know who you are. And then that's it. Chatting with the other Santas, very much exciting. And then you get the flight over, you land, you get on the bus, which takes you to the resort where you were working, which is Luosto. Straight away, the elf song starts singing through, the
loudspeakers
on the video, the speakers. So you have to learn the elf song, and then that's it. You're seeing reindeers at the side of the road, Trev. It's just snow everywhere, freezing, and you're just like, right, let's get us to the digs and the cabins where we're all going to be staying.
Yeah. Before you go there, so let me just take you back a bit. Firstly, the Jet2 crew, welcome to everything. I saw you put a post out. Did they know you were Simon from Not Just Crew? And secondly, how did the crew feel about having a whole bunch of festive characters on board?
Well, they looked a bit nervous, to be fair. Bless them. They're like finger in the headlights. But the Stansted crew, it's like, of course I was wearing my Not Just Crew hoodie. So they did know, and I'd heard of Not Just Crew. And it was great to chat to them and just talk about what we've been up to for the last, nearly 5 years now.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a few lively characters as regards to the stuff that were on the flight, but everyone was well behaved. The flight was longer than what I thought it was going to be. It was nearly 3.5 hours.
Oh, wow.
I know. I thought it was only going to be 2 hours, but no, 3.5 hours over there. And we had, we just get us there quick and let's get started with the Santa Claus.
Yeah, excellent. All right, okay, look, now's an ideal time to take another quick break, and then we'll talk about how you sort of settled into this new environment where everyone knew each other? Was it like going back to public school as the newbie? But we'll discuss that straight after this break.
Welcome to Sinfly. Sinfly is unique to our region. It's the only fully immersive aviation training facility based in the heart of the northeast of England. We work closely with schools, colleges, and other private educational facilities to give tailor-made experiences related to employment in the aviation sector.
Well, welcome back to this part 3 of this very special Santa edition with Not Just Cruiser very own Simon Costello. So I want to bring Simon back in because, as I say, we've all been intrigued over the December months about his adventures in Lapland. So welcome back, Simon. And because, as I say, I mean, it seems you've been away a long time. So you say it was November, and I believe you flew back on the 23rd of December. Correct. Now, firstly, I know that you love putting your decorations up as early as you can, possibly in November. So, firstly, did you get a chance to put your decorations up before you left? No, and that was a real break. That's a real break in tradition for you.
Yeah, I know, but we didn't. Just it was that manic, you know what I mean? It was crazy, like so. But Steph, she put them up like at the back end of November. So yeah, she was like, yeah. I didn't actually like when I was late when I left to go to the train station. Steph was still stuck down route, so I never even got to say bye bye to her properly. You know what I mean? Before we went, so that was a bit hard. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, well, that takes me back to my next question, which was, how was it like? Because I know very much you're very much a family man. What was it like being away from your family for that long? I mean, I know you've done long haul, but this was ultra long haul. This is like cruise ship long haul. Yeah. How did it feel, and how did you get over that?
Yeah, it was when we first got to the cabins. I mean, it was a great big massive log cabin, and then I didn't know if I had a room to myself or was I sharing with people. But as it happened, I was sharing with another Santa, so Martin from London, big Arsenal fan. We were sharing a room together, so 2 single beds. We had our own bathroom and shower, which was good. And all the Santas were in the same quarter in this cabin. But like, imagine 50 people sleeping in this really big cabin. I had like the Santa quarters were there, so 5 Santas and the 2 Mrs. Clauses were in that wing of the cabin. Then you had a corridor with the washing machines, then a big living area with a beautiful, beautiful log fire where everyone would sit around and chat and have a few drinks. Then a kitchen, then another dining room, then another room, big massive sauna, which you could get about 20 people in this big sauna, Trev. It was huge. And more living quarters. So down every corridor, there'd be like a room with 4 bunks in it. So bunk beds, sometimes 6 people in it. And that's where the elves would be. So you've got 6 elves staying in one room. I mean, that, you know what I mean? Thank goodness I had a room where there was just the 2 of us. But yeah, so to adjust and to get into that big environment, it reminded us very much of like when you used to go away with your schools. Yeah. You'd be full of excitement. But when you're like in your 50s, you kind of like, you like your home comforts, you like your space. It felt a bit overwhelming. So yeah, I felt I did. I'm not going to lie. It wasn't easy to adjust. The first few days, I'm thinking, what have I done? What have I landed myself into here? Everybody's like over the top characters, performing arts and, you know, stage and school musicals and all of this stuff background. And, you know, it was like, this is, have I done the right thing? So it did take a while to kind of adjust. After it took at least a week for us to start to get into a bit of a rhythm.
Yeah, yeah. I bet. Well, and one other thing I'd like to know: sometimes if you walk into a crew room, and people in aviation will know this, even if you know loads of people there, for some reason, and it's automatic, you automatically stay with your own sort of crew when you're having conversations. I don't know what happens because most of the time you end up saying hello to all the other crew, and then all of a sudden you end up. It's like when you go down for breakfast, you sort of stick with your own crew. Was that the same with just hanging around with the Santas initially, and the Mrs. Clauses stick together, and the elves stick together? How did it work? And on top of that, how many people was it their first time? Were you the only person whose first time it was?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You are drawn to your kind of own kind of people, and then it doesn't take you long to kind of realize who are your kind of people. Like I'm always drawn to the Northerners, and you kind of build up a rapport with them. Football's always a great common ground to start on. But yeah, you kind of like you can suss out a room. This is what crew are really amazing at. You can suss out a room of like complete strangers. Pick up on body language, pick up on accents, pick up on people's tone of conversation, what they're talking about. And then like you kind of like, oh, they sound like, my kind of person, like the funny, they're not too serious, they're quite confident, they're not overwhelming, they're not too much, they've got a nice balance. And so you kind of like, you can build up a conversation with these people. It doesn't take you long to like, yeah, I like you, you're good. And I can start talking to you more, then that leads to talking to other people. And obviously, yeah, you've got your different Santas as well. Some don't like football, some do. So you kind of like have a common ground with them. But as time goes by, when you have conversations with each and every one of them, you always find some sort of common interest and something that engages you, where you're like, oh my God, you're really interesting. I want to know a little bit more about you. And then you start hearing the stories of what they've had to offer. I mean, like one of the other Santas there was Alan. He's 80-year-old. He used to be on a show called The Comedians.
I remember that.
Remember that? Well, he was on The Comedians. He knew Bob Monkhouse. He was on tour with Roy Orbison. He knew Frankie Vaughan, and he had stories about Marilyn Monroe. Oh my God, the guy had so many stories. It was unbelievable. And I'm like, I'm tapping into this. And so we'd have a few drinks on a night time, and he would tell us things, and I'm howling. He's just so many interesting, fascinating people out there that, like, as crew, that's what we do. We get to know people, and it's not all about like what you've done, what I've done. I'd much rather know about what they've been up to, because I find that more entertaining than my dull ass life. You know what I mean? It's like I love hearing their stories.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I find that with crew, actually. I used to love hearing the stories of how it used to be. It's sort of come to a time when younger crew are asking me how it used to be in the old days. So, times do change. Say there was many sort of people there, but what was the range of nationalities you had?
Yeah, so New Zealand, Australian, Italian, Spanish, Indian, like loads, like, more UK based, loads of Scottish, loads of English, Irish, Welsh, that kind of thing, loads of nationalities. It was just age range. You were looking at like the youngest would be 18, oldest probably Alan at 80, and then like everything in between. But majority of like the elves and the rangers, they were like in the early 20s.
Yeah, wow. So how many people would you say were on site on the acting part? Not necessarily the actual sort of managers, actors, I suppose. That's an ideal description. How many of you?
In that one cabin, I'm going to say there was about 40 actors, so they were classed as casting characters.
Yeah,
and obviously in that cabin, you had your makeup artists ×4. You had your chefs; they were there. You had your who else were there? And then obviously rangers. The rangers were there, but like the characters, about 40. And remember as well, it's not just elves. You have these lead characters as well. So you've got the likes of Snowy Boy, you've got Speedy Sam, Noisy Nod, Tricky Dicky, And like, obviously, there's not just one.
No.
It's mad. And like, not just one of them. So like for Tricky Dicky, you've got 3 different Tricky Dickies because obviously they're on a rota. Same with Snowy Boys and all that, and same with like the Santas. And they all had to audition they went through a series of auditions in a 3-week period when we were over there, who Canterbury were going to choose to be those characters.
Oh,
so
right,
they were like vying for like kind of like the lead role, so to speak. So yeah, so there was that was all going on for 3 weeks. That was great.
Yeah, and they it's going to be a slightly sensitive point, and I don't expect you to give me any figures here, by the way, but I assume there's a different pay scale for the different characters. Did that ever cause any, not verbal issues, but could you ever sense it was a case of them and us? Sometimes as you get on plane, sometimes between the flight deck and the cabin crew.
Yeah, the Santa's got the best. You're 100% right. That conversation did come up once or twice. And to be honest, I was shocked at like the pay that we were getting in comparison to what others were getting.
Yeah.
But like obviously it's like we've got the star and role because like by no means were we working the hardest out of everybody. Yeah, it's the speciality role, but like the elves and the rangers, those guys, they were working from about 7-8 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Where we were kind of doing on shift, we were working from 8 in the morning and probably finishing at 4 in the afternoon.
Wow.
You know?
I'm jumping forward a bit, but I'll be coming back, so don't give me too. I mean, when you came back from shift, and we'll talk about what your shift involved in a minute, was it like a scene out of Snow White when all the dwarves come in absolutely shattered and they're just ready to go straight to bed?
Yeah, a lot of shattered, tired, knackered elves, you know, like, and it's just like, you know, like, and they were like, there was, because they'd been stood out. A lot of the like areas that they cover, they're outside for like about 4 or 5 hours. Well, it's minus 20 degrees, Trev. They've got these, I mean, the outfits that they've got on, yeah, they're nice, thick and padded, but holy moly, it's really cold. So they'd be very cold, you know, and obviously very tired because the energy that they have to provide for the children and the families, getting them
grumpy,
interacting and getting them involved in the events that they're doing, they're absolutely shattered. So they'd be coming back, they'd be getting something to eat, getting warmed up, and then they'd be back out for like evening kind of events that they put on for them. So whereas like once we were back, and we had the wigs and the beards taken off and obviously cleaned up and the costume off, we could kind of like unwind and relax, and that was us done.
Yeah, God, yeah. So they must have been grumpy and sleepy, although elves are very different to dwarves. So listen, right, we go slightly, we go in a minute, we'll go to a break and we'll talk about your foot on shift. But during the Christmas review, you said it was over some footage, and we managed to get you in your in your makeup room and then putting your full gear on. But before that, you did send us a video of like a pre-run when you had to sort of practice your lines. You're all in civvies, but you had to how was that standing up in and I have to say this, how does that feel stand up in front of professional actors doing this new role that you had played once in an amateur sort of way, but all of a sudden you're a professional senator, but yet these people have been through acting school, stage school, whatever. How did that feel? Because you look very bad, and I've got to be honest, you actually looked very comfortable.
For all includes towards the door. There is one more thing before you leave. If anybody asks if you've seen Santa, you must tell them that you haven't. If I keep having visitors, I will never get any work done. Oh, ho, ho! Have a very Merry Christmas and goodbye.
Yeah, well, I didn't feel it at the time, to be honest. But like, it's like everything, isn't it? You've just got to throw yourself in at the deep end. There were literally all of us Santas were there. The elves were doing the rehearsals, and obviously they wanted Santa Claus or a Santa Claus volunteer to get up there. Excuse me. And to interact with them and go through the script, because you had a script to go through. So I just went, I'll do it. I'll do it. And just I got up there and I thought, you know what, I'm going to have to do all of this anyway. There's no better way of learning than throwing yourself in there and just embracing it all. They're all doing it. They're going for it. All the elves and all the characters. That's what I need to do. This is what I'm paid to do, and this is what I wanted to do. So just get up, Costello, and get up and do it. So you just stand up in front of everybody. You've got the script. I tried to learn it as best as I can, so I was trying not to look at it. And then that was it. Just go for it. Just give it your all. It's exactly the same as when you get up, isn't it? You're sitting in the rig, and it's like, right, everybody's going to do it anyway, right? So there's a decompression coming. There's a ditching happening. There's a land evacuation. You're going to have to shout your commands. You're going to have to put yourself out on stage. It's no different. So I just thought, right, let's get it over and done with, and let's just see what happens.
Yeah. And how many days of rehearsal did you actually have before the big event?
There was a lot of waiting around for about a week and a half, and then it was like we're off to the hotel before all the guests come, and that's where the rehearsals used to take place. So I would say about 5 days of getting to know everybody. This really good kind of like process what they've got going on there, where like everybody gets to know each other. They keep mixing the groups up as well, so everybody's comfortable. And then so like you had those 5 days, and then once that was all done and it was getting nearer to actually being the Santa and the families were arriving, they took us up to Santa's houses, and then I did a dry run through with all the staff who work for the company, and they pretended they were the families, so they'd be coming through the Santa's house, going through the whole experience, and then you'd be sitting there as Santa delivering the 4 or 5 minutes what the family would expect to see. So there was a lot of kind of dry runs, a lot of rehearsals, because the managers have to be happy with who you are, what you're going to deliver, and are you going to give that magical experience? Because if you can't, then they're not going to use you. They'll just say, sorry, we'll rather do without you. You know what I mean? And we'll just cope with.
And did that actually happen? Did you see that happen?
No, everyone was absolutely spot on. So it was good.
Yeah, and you did, just so I heard that correctly, you did with a sort of, so rather than having groups of section A, section B, section D, whatever, you were sort of mixed up on a weekly roster, daily, were the teams mixed up?
Yeah, like we all knew what days we were working. One of the head Santas, Paul, he created the roster, so that's why after doing the dry run-throughs, Tony was happy with what I was doing. So he scrapped the floating Santa role, and he went, I want to give you everything that the other Santas are doing. So, like, on a daily basis, we all got, like, right, so I'm working these 2 days, then I might have 2 days off, then I'm working 3 days, 2 days off, you know. So your rota went on like that for the next, like, 3 weeks, up until the day that you were leaving. And, like, during the day, you'd get, say, about maybe 4 coaches coming up to the Santa's house, and there'd be about 60 people on each coach. So it's pretty full on. Like every coach would last about an hour and 45 minutes going through. And then you would have like 10 minutes break and then the next coach. So it was non-stop. Like it was like.
Yeah. Just before, because we're going to, because to say this is a longer episode than we normally do, but there's so much to talk about because this is quite an amazing and unusual sort of career, well, not career, just sort of job role that you had. So the paying customers who went, they obviously stayed very far from where you guys were staying. Perhaps not. I don't know. Maybe you could tell me. But how long did the average person fly to Lapland for? So, say if you're taking two kids for Lapland, generally, how long are you there? 2 or 3 nights, or is it longer?
Yeah, three nights. So just say they would land on the Friday. They would they'd get on the coach, go to the hotel, go get something to eat, go out on the night time, do tobogganing with the elves and all of that stuff. Then they've got the next day full of activities. The next day is full of activities. Then the last day is obviously where we found Santa kind of day. And then that's it. They're away home after that. So it's not 3 days, 3 nights experience, and it's not cheap.
I can imagine.
Google how much these things cost. Doesn't matter which company that they have these experiences for. It is a lot of money, So once in a lifetime experience, like.
Well, I remember. Well, when my three girls were very young, I did look into it, and then looked very quickly out of it, and then just took them to the local department store instead. So. And that was even trying to get some kind of concessions as well. It's way out of reach. So anyone who has been, listen, always thank your parents for that. That was an amazing thing. Right, let's go to it. Yeah, let's go to a quick break, and then we'll talk about the main event. We'll go out of a couple of clips, and then we'll be straight back to it.
If you love travel while listening to fabulous music, join us at Go Explore Radio 24 hours a day. Find us on our socials at Go Explore Radio.
Welcome back to part 3 of part 4 of this extended Not Just Crew with Simon Costello, who's literally just come back from Lapland, and we're just literally reliving his experience because it's such an unusual and very interesting job opportunity that he had there, more than just a job really. So I'll bring Simon back in, and then we're going to go into getting the show ready. Welcome back, Simon, again.
Sorry, just adjusting my nipple.
Well, fair enough. You get a lot of frostbite out there, I imagine. Right, so you're safely back in the UK at home. Glad to be at home. I know. So I'm going to take you back a bit further. So you've had about a week and a half to settle into your new role. You've worked out your digs. We've worked out the pecking order. Very interesting. And then, unlike most jobs, you had to go into sort of makeup and prep. What was that like for the first time? And what I mean by that is, firstly, did you wonder how it looked when you come out? And secondly, did you feel like a bit of a VIP going into makeup? And we'll play this clip while you're giving your answer of you getting ready. Just seeing your name up with all your special what are words they call prosthetics, and beard and this lot. How did that feel?
Oh, like something out of this world, man. It's like the day, like all the makeup girls, the makeup artists, and there was 4 of them. Unbelievable. So they were taking us in one at a time because they were trying and shaping the beards and the wigs, obviously, to suit your face and all that, and get them applied and glued on. So you'd be there. It took initially just over half an hour to get the bead and the wig put on. So you're just sitting there. I mean, you can't talk. That was a bit tricky. So, like, you're sitting there and you're like, you don't know what to do. You don't know what to twitch your nose. So I keep still. And then the gluing, and then the eyebrows, the colour your eyebrows in. Obviously, the mustache needs to be glued on. Beard, your wig goes on quite easily. That was quite good. And
red cheeks.
Yeah, then they put the rosy cheeks on.
I've been there.
This took about initially just over half an hour, but like on a day that you were going to be Santa to go up there, they have to get a bit quicker than that, the girls. So it was like they had to condense it down to about 20 minutes because they're not just doing Santas, they're doing all the elves, they're doing all the lead character elves, the Noisy Nod, the Snowy Boy. They have to get them dressed as well. And another 2 Santas as well, because there'd be 3 Santas on one day. And you all have timing slots where you need to be in for makeup to get that done. So be on time, otherwise they'll give you a good thrashing.
Yeah.
So that first time that I got that put on, where we've got obviously the images where I had that on for the first day, blew my mind. Straight away, I felt really special. I felt in character, and I felt blessed, and I felt privileged to actually be in that position. And it started making me believe more that, yep, it's getting ever closer. It's actually going to happen. That's going to be me, and I'm going to be Santa Claus. And it started making us feel more like justified and, you know, more settled. It settled us down quite a lot, you know. I didn't feel as much as an imposter when I'd started dressing as Santa Claus.
Well, look, I'll pop this clip up here now. This picture. Now, this is you in full makeup with a Newcastle United top on.
Yeah. That's one of my favourite shots. That was the first year that I had, obviously, the beard and the wig on, and I felt amazing. And just to be able to say Santa's a Geordie was like even more special.
Yeah, I'm surprised that image hasn't been flashed around Newcastle anyway, and or if it hasn't, you never know in the future, because that was quite image. Certainly gave me a bit of a chuckle. So, like on day one, night before your first show, I imagine you've got, you know, you may have not been nervous. You could have been very, very, very exciting. What time did you go to bed, and did you manage to get some sleep? And what day? What time does your day start?
I was really nervous. I was really nervous because like I wasn't on my first day. It wasn't the first day of the Santas going up there. Martin and a couple of the others, they went up the day before. So I'll tell you what was really important, getting as much feedback from all the Santas and the experienced people who've been there the year before, and what they'd experienced the day that they were being Santa. I listened. I asked as much as I possibly could to try and draw off their experience, and that would settle me down. So like I would know kind of what to expect more. And then I listened to all the different Santas' accents, to how they were as well. I used to take all the energy from the elves who were around us and the lead characters, and I would take as much as I possibly could on board and put that into developing my character as Santa, and that settled us down. But the night before, I was so nervous, but I still managed to get a good night's sleep. But I was up at like 6 o'clock in the morning, in makeup for 7. Obviously, once you would get your costume on first, and then they would put like that around you, because obviously you can't put stuff over your beard and wiggle to start possibly coming off. And then you're basically just sitting around waiting for the vans, the blacked out vans, to take you to the Santa's houses.
Wow. And so you've been taken in his van. Are there elves with you, or are you just Santa by yourself? Yeah.
No. It's like you'd be in there with, say, 4 other elves. The vans are blacked out because at this point all the guests are obviously on the resort. So if anyone's going around, they can't see that they're putting Santa up in the Mercedes Vito. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you've got to keep a low profile, and it's worth noting as well. The week before the Santa started, that's when the guests start arriving. So you're in lockdown at that point, so you can't leave your cabin at all. You know, and if you've got to stay in your quarters, because it wasn't so bad for me because I don't look like Santa Claus. Like, you know what I mean? There's no beard, there's no Santa Clausy. The accent's definitely not Santa Claus. But for some of the others, it's a no-no. They can't go anywhere near where the hotel guests stay because they'll pick up on like the character. You know what I mean? That you don't want to turn up into Santa's house and go, "Oh, I saw him buying 6 cans of Stella in the supermarket yesterday." You know, it's like, Santa was thirsty.
No, that's true. Fair enough. So so you're in this blacked out vehicle, you arrive at Santa's house. How does it work? Similar to an aircraft, you've got sort of pre-flight checks or pre-Santa checks. And how long are you in that house before guests start arriving?
There's no pre-flight checks, just basically trying to calm your nerves down, because you know the first family's gonna come through that door in about an hour's time. So you're up the Santa's house about an hour before everybody starts arriving. It is cold. It is cold in there. So you need to get the fires burning, trying to get some heat into the house, because the houses are big. It's like a proper house, you know. So you need to get some heat in there. You're having a cereal bar, because I can't eat anything with the beard and the wig on. I can have a cereal bar. That's kind of like what my food is for the whole day. Nothing else. I can't have pot noodles. It'll get all over me yak hair, you know.
No cups of tea, warm drinks.
No, because it might spill, drip. You've got to have stuff through a straw. which was just basically juice. So yeah, and then you're just sitting around waiting, going through your script, trying to, like, picture what the families and what the kids are going to throw at you, because you know what kids are like. They can ask anything, any question at any time. Some could be quiet, some will never shut up, but you've got to be totally on your game, because like they ask you so many amazing, weird things. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I was going to say, right, so it's quite an emotional moment. So I don't know if you hear vehicles up, or what was it like when you first... We'll go through Santa's house in a minute. Funny enough, that's what they did anyway. But we'll go through that bit in a minute. But when you first heard those children's voices, did the nerves really hit in, or was it like, right, okay, right, adrenaline rush, time's over, action?
No, it was like, oh shit. Here they come. There's no turning back now. That's what I was thinking in my head. But I was like, right, just come on. I could hear them going through the house in the different rooms. I could hear all the different elves doing their bit in the prospective rooms that they were in. I could hear how amazing they were. And I'm like, oh my God, that elf is smashing it. Like Sparkles, smashing it. Blizzard, smashing it, because all the elves have got their own unique names as well. I'm like, oh, that's amazing. Oh, the kids, I can hear the kids going, oh, this is fantastic. Oh, hello, Blizzard. Have you seen the reindeers? Have you seen Santa? And like, I know they're going to come and they're going to see us, but they don't know that. They don't know they're going to find us. So
well, okay, in that case, hold the thought. Talk us through, because you've done this role about a million times now. But say something from the first time. I pull up a car with my kids. Tell me what happens from my point of view.
Well, they actually come up on a sleigh, so I can hear them coming up like on the sleigh via the snowmobiles. The snowmobiles is pulling the sleigh up with the families in there, so I can hear them. I can hear them coming to the building. I can hear them knocking on the door. The elf opens the door. They're like, "Oh, hello there!" It's like, Timmy, Sophia. Welcome to Santa's house. Santa's not in at the moment, but we can show you around the house. So I can hear that in the distance. I can hear them moving around the house, going in the different rooms, and I'm just sitting there in my room, my secret magic room, until they go through the magic bookcase to meet me. So I would say there's about an 8-minute kind of process from them coming to the house before they actually come in to see me.
Yeah. I was going to say, I mean, and that must sound so magical. And whose reaction are you looking at first? Are you looking at the children's, or are you looking at the parents watching the children's reactions? If that makes sense.
Yeah, total. I mean, like the kids come in first, like the elves will get the kids to go down down the staircase. It just depends which house you work in that day. Like one of the houses is on the flat, like a bungalow. 2 of the other houses are down a staircase. So
here we have my office. Now, once again, you might think it's changed a little bit, but look what we have over here. Say hello to my wonderful, beautiful, hard-working elves. Hello. This is wonderful. Now, as we move through here, I have 2 incredible people. Now say hello.
Hello.
To everybody here from Lapland.
So good to see you.
This is wonderful. Now, do you do some cheeky things maybe?
Yes, I can do it. Look.
Oh, this is wonderful.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness, right. This is the wonderful Rudolph. Have a look. Employee of the month. But as we walk through, we have all these wonderful, beautiful reindeers of mine. As you can see, they are all very special to me. I love my house so much. It's where I get all my work done and see all of my children's letters. It's a beautiful thing. Now, I will take you through here, but you have to be very quiet, because nobody knows I'm here sometimes. I have to be very quiet for my elves. Only my most special elves see me in my office. Now, this is where we come. This is my library area, but you can also sit around
and read incredible books under the Christmas tree. And I sometimes sit in my corner there when I'm not in my office, just relaxing, reading my many books. Obviously, I have to keep nice and warm, so my fire is there for my elves to keep me warm. And I do not think I do nothing, you know, just because I'm Santa Claus. I do many things. But this is where I have my dinner parties also. We have some very popular dinner parties. Sometimes Mrs. Claus comes, sometimes parties she does not know anything about. So they are my favorite and most special ones. So these are just a few of my rooms in my wonderful Santa Claus's house that you have been lucky to see.
So the kids will come down the staircase and I'm sat at my desk pretending I'm like reading a book, going through the naughty nice list book, whatever. And then like I'll see the kids first. So they normally come halfway down the stairs and just stop.
Yeah.
They see you, they're like, Santa Claus. And then I'm looking at their face, and then I'm obviously like, I'm because I know the names beforehand. I know who they are. I know a bit of the backstory about the family beforehand. I've got to learn all of this in a few minutes.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, you do that with every family, obviously, before they come in. So you've got a short window to process as much information as you can about this family. And some of them, as you can imagine, have got some incredible stories, and it's been hard for them for the last year. Anyway, that's a different story. But then straight away, once the kids are through, and I've either like embraced them, I've hugged them, or they've come in for a hug and all that, and then I'm leading them from that area to another area where they'll sit down next to me. I always look at the family's reaction as well.
Yeah,
I love to see their reaction, because that's priceless as well, because it's just as important for them as what it is for the children. You know,
Yeah.
It's like, for whatever reason, you know, it's important for the whole family. So I like to see their reaction. And that's why, like, I don't just talk to the children, I'm talking to the whole family there, and giving them the experience as well, because it's not just about the children. It is mainly, but like, it's about the family. And like, it's not just your usual 2 adults, 2 kids, you know, Trev. You might have the parents, the grandparents, 4 kids in the room. You could have up to like 14 people in one room. That's a lot of names to remember.
I was going to say, so let me ask you this. That first time, did you ever look at a kid and ever get what we're always terrified of as crews, having like a imposter syndrome?
No, was it. I just went straight in the character. And after, honestly, the first family, my adrenaline was pumping so much. I was like, next, just come on, next. Like, you know, I want to do it again. You know. And it's like, don't worry, Simon, you're going to be doing it a lot. But it's just like, this is really good, because you've got a time frame, you know, from when they first see you to kind of like what you've scripted, what goes on in the Santa's office, and then obviously they have to leave because the other family's on the way in. You know what I mean? It's like, and that's you've got this time frame to stick to, so you're very conscious of that as well. But this is where teamwork comes into it, because you've got your wonderful elves in the same room with you, and you're working together as a team, because obviously they need a photograph taken, they need to be given a present, you need to chat to them, and then kind of like, you know, right, we're kind of done here, you know, like we're next family, but, and you know, a little bit of an exit script, and then do it all again.
Yeah. Oh, and then did you ever have any? And I know you're an absolute professional, so you probably wouldn't. But did you have any problems ever pronouncing any of the names?
A lot.
Or getting the names wrong.
Yeah, you got a lot of Irish families coming in.
Yeah.
And well, there's some special names there. But what's really good about the company that I work for, even like all the names, and if it was difficult, were broken down of how to say it. Phonetics. So you'd get like a list, you'd get like a little bit of paper of the children's names and how to pronounce it, like, you know, like how you should say it. So they didn't just give you a name that was just all letters. It says, this is how you say it. The elf would say, this is how you say their name. It's like brilliant.
And,
really,
and go on.
No, it was just the teamwork. And it was amazing. I was blown away by how professional the whole setup is.
Yeah, and when you saying about the briefing, you get a briefing of each family. Are you giving that on the morning or the night before so you can start practicing?
Yeah. You're given a manifest the night before of like how many families and how many people are going to come through to see you on that day. So you've got all the family names there, but on the day you just think, right, I've just got to take one family at a time. So before that family come, you've got like the letters from the children that they've written themselves, but they don't know you've got these letters.
Right.
You know, like, oh, you've got my letter, Santa, you've got my letter, and like obviously you've got like the things that they want for Christmas, which we like. Some might have 2 things on there, some would have 200, and you're like, blow my neck. And then you'd like have like who the best friends are at school, what they've done well this year. You know.
Oh wow! Yeah.
So like, you know, some heart-wrenching stories of like how they'd lost some of the grandparents and they were really close to, and like, could you give them a special mention as well, but without the child knowing that you know this from a letter. So you're trying to memorize as much as you can, talking to the child, and like they're like, how did you know that? How do you? Santa knows my best friends. Santa knows my dog's name, little Timmy. You know, and like, how is Timmy?
Magical, yeah.
And you're like, when you see the faces, they're like looking at you, and then they go, you know my friends, you know my school teacher, you know my school, you know all of these things. How do you know this, Santa? He said, of course I know. I'm Santa Claus. I know so many things about my children, you know, and the minds are blown, you know, and because you see them like believe, you're like, you know you're nailing it, like.
Yeah. And you see the
Just to jump on the back of that, when you're saying these to the children, and then you look at the parents, and then you're seeing them, and some of the parents are in tears because they're seeing the reaction of their children, of how amazing this is for them. They're all emotional because they're seeing that they've provided this for their children. You know what I mean? And they're caught up in the magic of it. And then you'll acknowledge to the mum and dad, oh, you have such wonderful children. You must be so proud of your children. And they're like, yeah.
I mean, are they crying about the credit card bill that's to come because of the holiday, or just the genuine joy that was worth it?
The genuine joy.
Of course. Right. So you've gone through a typical day. So how many times would you do this in a day?
So let's just go a typical session. There would be, say, 12 families come through, varying. You might just get two parents, 1 child. You might get 2 parents, 4 grandparents, 4 children, 6 children sometimes. So that would be 12 times per coach, times that by 4. So you know what I mean? You've got 48 occasions where you're doing it. Obviously, the bigger families, the more tricky it was, and they'd be in the room a lot longer because obviously you're talking to each child and giving a present to each child. And like I say, some kids, they like to talk. Some just sit there and not say much, you know. So it would just take various different times.
Yeah. So okay, so your last family leaves. You said there was a slight exit script for What is go for a typical exit script.
So basically, like, once you've done the presents, once you've done the photos, where the elf takes the photos and the family take photos, sometimes families like the video as well, then it's like, okay, like, you know, just one more thing before we leave. I want you to promise me that you say nothing to anybody, because like, obviously it's a secret that you found Santa and nobody needs to know where he is. But I want you to have more fun before you leave. Go outside with all my wonderful elves, have fun in the snow, and promise me you'll have a wonderful time over this Christmas, you know? And then, like, obviously, then the door is kind of to the left, then the elf will go, okay, my friends, it's time for us to go now. Santa's very busy. They'll open the door, and then obviously that's time. They're going out there. And then when they go out of that door, there's more character elves there, and they're like, oh, you found Santa. You know, it's like that kind of, that, and then that's it. The door's shut, and then you've got to reset for the next family.
Yeah. So the last child's gone out for the day. You hear the snowmobile going. What'd you do? Sit down and have a cigarette, and after that,
oh my God, the girls would kill you if you smoked with your beard and your wig on and all that. No chance. You're basically just sitting there. Obviously, all the families have gone in quite a distance away from the location. So you're waiting around the house maybe 45 minutes before the whole scene is totally clear. And then you'll get the sleigh back down to where the transport is, the vans and stuff like that, into the transport, back to your cabin, basically wig, beard taken off, or get a face massage, which was quite nice.
Yeah.
And then that was you done for the day. Have a nice couple of beers, which are not cheap.
How long does it take to take the makeup off? I know it takes a while, but I'm sure they don't just rip it off today. Is there a
no, about 10 minutes? It's got to come off very carefully because it's glued on, and obviously that's your wig, and you've got to keep wearing it the next day or whatever, you know. So it's got to be carefully taken off, mustache carefully taken off. So that takes about 10-15 minutes as well. Excuse me.
Yeah. And so, what does Santa do in his downtime in the evening? An off-duty Santa.
Off-duty Santa. Well, that's interesting because once you've drunk your 4 litres of duty-free that you purchased at Stansted Airport, which I might add doesn't last that long when you're away for 6 weeks, you kind of like there is. Luckily, where I was, there was a shop nearby. But like obviously, if you're in lockdown, you've got to get other people to go to the shop for you. And they've got like their beers over there, by the way, Trevor. Really, really nice. You know, expensive, but really nice. I mean, like for 6 cans, you're looking at about like £14. You know, out of a shop. But like the beers are really nice, and they're not weak either. Like they do an 8% beer, and they do a 5.2% beer. So they're quite strong. So you would literally just have, once you've had something to eat, you would have a couple of beers on at night time and just like relax, man, relax.
Yeah. And is it? I mean, are you on duty every day, or is there like one complete day off?
Yeah, you would have like 1 complete day off or 2 complete days off after you'd worked 2 days. So obviously, the day that you finish, you can have a few drinks that night, and then you can just have a nice lie in the next morning and basically just relax. You know, get up as late as you want, and the accommodation was really nice. The beds were really comfy.
Yeah. I was going to say, I mean, did you get used to sort of having to share a room again? I mean, I know you mentioned right at the beginning of this program. I mean, that must have been sort of hard, especially if one of you's on duty and one of you's not, and they're getting up early, and you get a chance to have a lie in.
Well, this was why I was really lucky to be like room sharing with Martin. To be fair, he didn't snore. I don't snore. He doesn't sleepwalk. He doesn't sleep talk, which I know a few other Santas did. And he was really quiet because he used to like staying up quite late. Not a drinker, but he wouldn't like to go to bed till about 1, and I was in bed by about 11. And he'd be really quiet coming in. He was really respectful. So when you've got somebody sharing a room like with him, it was enjoyable. And obviously, we both loved our football. We're both the same age, same kind of humour. So it was like I made a good friend. You know what I mean? So like, you know, it's like that's what made it enjoyable, and that's why I find myself really lucky, because that is really important, because that could make or break your experience. Because I know a couple of the other Santas, they were in a room together and you know, snoring, sleep talking, sleepwalking. You know, it was kind of a bit of a problem for some of them, but like not for me. It was really good. But like on a night time as well, Trev would have like movie nights as well. You know, like the elves would like put a big sheet up. They had a projector. Would put movies on. Would do quizzes. Would have party games. Sometimes we had parties. You know, it was like a really.
Why not? It's Christmas.
Yeah, of course it is. It was a really good fun like environment to be in. You know, once like I'd got over that first week and a half and settled into my groove, it became more enjoyable, the whole process, you know, and I wouldn't change it for the world. Like,
yeah. So moving on a bit now. So we're coming to say the last couple of days of December. December the 23rd. Was that the day of your last visit to that, or was that the day you actually sort of came home? Did you wrap it all up on the 22nd and fly home on the 23rd? That's what I mean, in short.
Yeah, got you. No, so what had happened, remember my official title was a floating sander. So a week before, it was all supposed to be ending. Like you said, 22nd was my last official working day, and that was going to be my Make-A-Wish day. So I was going to have a Make-A-Wish coaches coming through, which is I was really looking forward to. It's my reindeer dog.
It is.
So that was going to be my last official day, and it was going to be the Make-A-Wish tour coming in. I was looking forward to doing that. I was really looking forward to, like, I know it would have been a hard day, but I was looking forward to kind of like delivering and making everything magical for them. But because I was the floating Santa, something happened to another Santa at a different resort the week before. So that they asked us, well, because this is your role, Simon, like, we're going to have to ask you to go to another resort. How do you feel about it? And I'm like, well, I'm fine. You know what I mean? It's my job at the end of the day. So it's like, I'm happy to do that. So I moved completely away from everybody who I was like, at home with to a different resort, Suomi, which was a lot quieter. And I spent my last week there at this totally different resort. And that was a big adjustment because it was totally different to where I'd been. Whole new people to meet yet again and to get used to. But it was only for the last week, and I still enjoyed it because
I bet
quiet.
I mean, in football terms, was that like a free transfer?
Yeah,
to a different resort. Yeah, having to get to know. It must be so hard getting to know everybody again, especially as you're only going to be together a week. Well, I mean, it sounds, and I'm sure they weren't. I won't ask what happened to the last Santa, but did you see any apprehension about them having to get to know a new Santa? I mean, I'm talking about the elves. And that, like,
well, that was it. It's getting to know a new Santa and how he works and what makes his mind tick and what he's going to be like with them, the characters, and obviously the families. So again, like on my first shift at the new resort, like the manager, he was there on the day, but he was like listening in, like from a distance, at like how I was, like as Santa. And literally after like 3 families, he went, right, I'm going, I'm happy. This is perfect. This is just what we need. Keep doing what you're doing, Simon. No problems here. But you know what I mean? So then I just like did my last few shifts at Suomi. The accommodation was totally different that I had my own house.
Oh, wow.
So me and this other Santa, Bruce, we had our own house, our own bedrooms, double bed, our own sauna in the house, kitchen, but it was miles away from anyone else. You know what I mean?
Is this the clip we've got coming up now where you'll run out into the snow from a sauna? That's his house, yeah. Have a watch this. I'll talk over this while the clip's being shown. You're very brave.
Stupid.
Well, you obviously got something to film it, but did you think you had to go through it because it was being filmed, or were you going to go through it anyway?
No, I was literally in the sauna. Yeah. And I was just thinking, do you know what? It's hot in here.
Yeah, funny that.
It's 110 degrees.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be quite funny if I just went straight from the sauna through the living room into the snow? Now, I know it can be quite dangerous because you get frostbite from going them temperatures, and it can burn you because obviously it's freezing.
Of course.
And I knew this anyway, so I wasn't stupid. That's why I didn't stay in it lying there too long. And I just sent Steve, who was there. I went, mate, video this, will you? I says, I want this for my own, like, kind of reference. And so, yeah, it was cold.
Yeah, well, you're meant to get quite a dopamine adrenaline rush. From that. No, it looks amazing. But so in that case, you must have got on with everyone, even then, your second home, right? So close of play. 22nd of December, 2024. You're all packed, and from what I understand, you said you lost a bit of weight as well.
Yeah, because obviously you're in lockdown and stuff like that, and the food the food over in Finland's really weird. It's they like the meatballs and they like the mash.
Yeah.
They like the noodles, sabo noodles. A lot of them knocking around, and they like chicken nuggets. Well, I'm not really a fan of chicken nuggets. There was a lot of like what I would say like young people's food, you know, because it was catering to like the teenagers and the young 20s, and they like the burgers and there was a lot of pork. But I'm not really a fan of the food over there. No curry, Trev.
Oh no, it should be illegal. Should be a basic human right.
And they love the red cabbage coleslaw. The look weird food. So there was a lot of times I didn't bother. I would just have a pot noodle, you know. So I did lose. I nearly lost a stone. I put it all back on now, like, you know what I mean? Coming back for Christmas.
Oh,
you know,
right.
not one pork scratching in Finland, in Lapland. No bags of pork scratchings. And obviously, because it's so expensive, the alcohol, I wasn't really drinking that much either.
Yeah.
You know, so...
Yeah, and okay, so you're packing up. I'll talk about your return flight in a moment. So you packed up.
Right, so this is my last shift today. Halfway through, just done 2 coaches, 16 families on the first one, 11 families on the second. Just having a bit of a break because everything's all timed, but everything managed to keep it ticking over all nicely. Got a good system going, but it's brilliant. So just to see the kids' faces when I'm telling them they're on the nice list, because I'm saying, I have something very special to tell you both. Yes, you are both on my nice list. And they get very buzzing, you know what I mean? So just to see their faces like light up, it's great. So yeah, halfway through, just 2 more coaches to go. Enjoying it as usual. Going to be sad, obviously, but it's like the happy sad stuff in it. It's like I'm going home tomorrow and I'm dying to get back to see me family, just to see me dog, just to see everybody and spend Christmas Day together. I've been away a long time. It's like be 6 weeks, just shy of 6 weeks, but everyone's amazing, absolutely fantastic. So just 2 more coaches to go, and then I'll check in with you then.
It must have been strange that, you know, all of a sudden all these characters all packing up and becoming themselves again. At that point, did you start to miss it? Because I know when we sort of chatted afterwards, you said, you know, you can feel down after a few days after these things, and I've had that experience myself with other things. But at what point did you sort of, it was confirmed in your mind, this is it?
It was like, you know what it's like when you get near the end anyway. It was like I was trying to kind of like savor every moment of being Santa with the children and the family as much as I possibly could, because I know it was drawn to a close. And then other emotions I had, just get me home. I'm ready to get home. It's just before Christmas. I've missed my family. I want to get home. Just get us on that bus, get us on the plane, get me on the train going home. Because it's all the faffing around, isn't it? You know what it's like. Packing, faffing around, you're putting off the inevitable, and everything's out of your control because you're getting ferried around. And I like to be in control. It's like, right, once I know I'm going, I want to go. You know what I mean? But like the last day of being Santa, I took in every moment with every family and just immerse myself in all of that emotion. And that is definitely something that I enjoyed on the last day. But once that last shift was done and I was back there, I was packed, I was ready to go. The next day couldn't come quick enough. I hate saying goodbye to people. I can't, you know, it's like, you know, I find that so hard. I'd rather just like, I love you all. Thank you so much. I'm out of here, you know, because everybody's in the room. It's like hugging and there's tears. It's sad. And it's like, right, come on, let's just go. But it wasn't until I actually got home and like, it was the 23rd. I got back to Newcastle at about like 9:30 at night. There's no snow. There's Christmassy. Didn't feel Christmassy. You know what I mean? The best bit was about, right, I'm looking forward to Christmas Day and being with the rest of my family and that Christmas Day. But because there was no snow and it didn't feel wintry, I was like, where have I come to here? Where's my snow? Where's my cold? You know, where's my reindeers? Where's my elves? Where's my beard? Where's my outfit? And I started getting withdrawals about not being Santa Claus anymore. I'm thinking, I'm Santa here. I'm Santa.
Yeah, do you know who I am?
Why am I not feeling Christmassy anymore? I'm bloody Santa, you know. It's like,
yeah. I was going to say, coming home. Assume it was Jet 2 again. May not have been. What again? Was that a charter flight? The only reason I say that is because you said you had to say all these goodbyes to people. Were a lot of them not on the same flight as you?
Well, it was all the new resorts, like elves and all that. They were on the same flight, but some people stayed behind as well. Not everybody came home on the same day. Some people came about a week later because obviously there's still activities going because they're still doing the Santa on Christmas Day. So 3 Santas stayed behind and did the Christmas Day. So obviously they need elves, they need rangers and all that. But the Jet 2 crew who brought us back, I put a post out a couple of the day before in Not Just Crew, like, is anybody on our flight, you know, bringing us back from, I forget which airport it was, and what, like, a couple of our members in Not Just Crew were crew on the flight bringing us home. So like, you know, I was having a bit crack on with them and stuff like that coming home.
Yeah.
There was a mix of different resorts coming back on that flight on the 23rd. But yeah, everyone's just kind of done by that time. They want to just get to Gatwick because we're landing back into Gatwick. They just basically wanted to get the cases and just get going.
Yeah. So what time do you actually sort of walk into your door at home?
About 10 o'clock on a night time. And it was basically, I was a good boy. I washed all my clothes before I came home, so that didn't need doing. So basically, case, boom, in there, had something to eat, went to bed, decompressed a bit. Yeah. Next morning, I was up bright as a button, sorting my case out, get everything put away. It's Christmas Eve, and just kind of like, right, let's get ready for Christmas.
Yeah.
Where's the elves?
Yeah, no, exactly. Right. Quick question on that. Obviously, it's Christmas Eve, and do you know what? My kids were young. I used to love Christmas Eve way more than I did Christmas Day. But at that time, were you craving more of a curry or a Christmas dinner?
Curry all day long, mate. Curry. Oh my God, it's like I just wanted curry. I wanted me vindaloo. I was absolutely gagging for me vindaloo. And do you know what? On Christmas Eve, I ordered one, but my usual Indian had gone from like I'd only been away 6 weeks, but because it was Christmas Eve, the order went from like what normally be 20 quid to £45 on Christmas Eve.
Wow!
I just went, what? I've already been gone 6 weeks. And he was going, oh, my gas and electricity's gone up. I went, no, I'm not paying that. So anyway, I phoned up somewhere else and got it cheaper again. I'm not paying £45.
I know. God. Or Witherspoons. Witherspoons always do quite a cracking curry.
Yeah, but I've not been to Spoon since I've been back. I'm trying to be good.
You still haven't been, no?
No, I've not been into Spoons yet. I don't think I have anyway. No, I'm sure I haven't. No.
Wow.
But like that's something we talked about a lot when we were in Lapland. Oh, I miss Spoons. It's so cheap. You know, it's like food. Oh.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, Simon, that's been quite an amazing an adventure. Same next year, or any plans for that?
Absolutely. I've already been asked back. It's apparently it's quite rare to be asked back straight away, but like, I mean, I believe it when I see it, you know, contracts and stuff like that. But I've been asked to go back, and I did say I want to go back to Lowestoft, like where I was initially, because that's kind of like my kind of personality, my feel. But
will you be moved up the pegging list for Santa's? Or
well, Martin, he's definitely going to go back as well. So I'm hoping I'm stipulating in my contract that I want to share with Martin again. But the good news is about all of this, I did speak to the management while I was out there, and I did tell them all about what we do with Not Just Crew.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So many seasonal people who work for various airlines would love to do, not the Santa gig, no, that one's mine, but like to be an elf or a ranger and to spend 6-7 weeks out in Lapland
Yeah.
and experience what I've experienced. Yeah, it's hard work, the Rangers and the Elves, really hard work, but it's so rewarding, and you get paid to be in Lapland. You know what I mean?
What about those members of not just crew who have been crew, maybe laid off for the winter, out of the season? Are there jobs, not in an acting role, but say maybe working in the hotel bar, the catering and restaurants that don't require those acting skills?
No.
No, James, Witherspoon's it is then. For them.
No, like the people who work in the hotel are all like locals in the
right, okay.
working there. But there is roles available. You just got to keep your eyes peeled. I mean, like as soon as we get wind of it, we'll put it out there. But
Yeah.
for team leaders, like, you know, and like Arctic stars, they're called. If you've got a personality, you know, Arctic stars are basically the ones that are at the front of the bus, talking to the whole bus capacity, doing the elf song, getting everybody whooped up into a frenzy, getting the kids all crazy, and getting the parents all interactive. They're called the Arctic stars.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, they have a really pivotal role in the customer experience as well. But like what I told them all about what we do. We have people who we can provide them with the best people to work out there, and they were like very interested to know more.
Yeah. No. Honestly, I think it's a really exciting opportunity. I can see you've totally enjoyed your experience. It's been. I mean, you've just got to prove you're literally not just crew. So what's that? You're taking a couple of months off now?
Yeah. Well,
not just crew side, but the
I go back flying for the summer. Start date April. So yeah, I've basically got January, February, March off, but obviously I want to do as much as I can with Stewie at Simfly.
Yeah.
We can get on location, we can go places, we can interview people, get more shows out there, and just I try and get people recruited for the jobs that they actually want to do out there. So that's what the aim is for the next three months.
Oh yeah, of course, and we'll be having an interview with Holly, head of NJC recruitment, anytime soon. Well, look, Si, it's been great. I think this is probably one of the longest shows we've done, but every bit of it has been worth it. I say it's been strange not chatting to you. Yeah, go on.
Tell you what, I've got to touch on. Like, oh my goodness, just to see the Northern Lights on a regular basis. With your own eyeballs, I mean, even you and your eyes would be able to see.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah,
you know? But like to see the Northern Lights just dancing around, like majestically, in some of the walks you can do out in Finland, like away from the guests.
Yeah,
incredible, absolutely breathtaking. It's like something you just see on the photo pictures and on the TV, but to actually walk around and like experience it yourself, and there's nothing, you can't hear a thing. It's just quiet. It's just quiet, and you're like, it's quite eerie, but you get used to it. The scenery, unbelievable out in Lapland,
and no light pollution, I'd imagine. So you're seeing the full set of the cosmos, really, the universe.
You get like these alert people, like some of the crews would have these like Northern Light alerts. They could be coming out, so everyone would rush out, and then you just see them dancing around, like in the sky, and you were just like, what on earth this is magic, man, magic.
Yeah. And what's the score with yellow snow out there? Can you really eat it?
Well, I didn't mean no harm.
All right, look, Simon, thank you so much. Honestly, it's been a brilliant show, and honestly, I've really enjoyed that. It's been strange not chatting to you for these while you're out there. It was but we could see you were full on, and you kept everyone informed, but it was nice to hear it all from the man himself, Santa even. We'll catch up soon, and everyone else. I mean, this is such a long show, so we might have to split this into three bits, but we'll do what we can, and it's been great. Simon, we'll catch up soon, and guys, you've been wonderful. Oh, one quick thing, so tell everybody, we are now with Go Explore Radio. We're going to be doing a show called the Weekend Brunch, so you can catch us every Saturday from 10 till 1. Yeah, and we're doing I think we've got to do, just because of studio time, we're doing a couple of shows by ourselves, then we should be back in the studio together. So join us every weekend, Go Explore Radio. It's a cracking news station aimed at the travel industry. Right, okay, that's it from me, Simon. Any final words from you, my friend?
No, listen, only final words I'll say, if there's something out there that you're looking at, don't hold back, just go for it. Because, you know, if you don't try, you don't get to experience all these things. And we're on this mortal coil for only a short period of time. So just throw yourself into anything that you want to do, because you know what? You're not just crew.
Absolutely. What a fantastic point to leave that on. Right, other than that, cue credits.